Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at a Precalculus book. It was written by Earl W. Swakowski. It's called Precalculus Functions and Graphs. And Swakowski has written other books as well. I have a few of his other books and I like him. So this one, I don't know if it's still popular, but you can see this is the 5th edition. So that means that it was used for many, many years. Let's take a look at this book. So you have some formulas here. This is a modern pre-calc book. You could use this as a beginner to teach yourself pre-calculus. And you could probably get used copies on the internet fairly inexpensively. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. Copyright 1987 by PWS Publishers. And then an 84 and an 80 by Prindle, Weber, and Schmidt. Wow, really old school, right? It's from the past. So let's take a look at the contents. So real numbers and graphs. Okay, so basic stuff. Functions, polynomial and rational functions, exponential and logarithmic functions, the trig function. So it's got trig. So it is a very modern book. Pre-calc books, typically modern ones, have what you would cover in a pre-calc course and in a trig course. So lots of things here, as you can see. And this is very standard and again, very, very modern. Like I've taught pre-calc and trig, and let me just say that this is what you learn, right? So a trig course would start here, and 5 would do 5, 6, 7, and yeah, and maybe some parametric equations. I would usually do a little bit of that. I guess you could do that here, 10.8. That's typically what I would teach in trig. Also well, here's the complex numbers. Like, what are the complex numbers? And vectors and stuff. So yeah. But for pre-calc, you would do 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 chapters maybe. And then 8, 9, 10. Definitely 10. Definitely 10. Okay, it does have matrices. Yeah, so this pretty much, it's very, very modern, very standard. I'm not seeing anything that's really missing. And I'm looking hard. I have done a couple of the exercises from this book, and I've looked at portions of it. It's a solid book. It's got a solid layout. This is just really nice, really good mathematics. Just got to give it a whiff here. Just, wonderful book. The absolute value of A is a definition. This is very important. If A is a real number, then the absolute value of A denoted by, and then that's the symbol we use for the absolute value, is, and so it's a piecewise function. It's going to be A if A is greater than or equal to 0. It's going to be negative A if A is less than 0. So let me show you how to use this. I've got a piece of paper here. Let me just show you really quick. Why not? Since we're here and I have a moment. So the absolute value of A is equal to, again, it's this piecewise function, right? We're saying it's A, right, if A is greater than or equal to 0, and it's going to be negative A if A is less than 0. So for example, if you had the absolute value of negative 2, well, which piece would you use? Well, there's a couple ways to do this. Method 1, use this formula, right? So let's see, well, A here is negative 2. So it's less than 0. So you plug it into this piece of the piecewise function. So it's negative 2, which is 2. Another way to do it is to say, hey, the absolute value of negative 2 is the distance between negative 2 and 0. Well, duh, that's 2, right? Boom, done. So that's a faster way. Now, what if you had something that wasn't a number, right? Let's level up. Let's say you had x minus 4 in absolute value. Well, what's this going to be, right? What would this be? Well, let's just apply the formula. This is a piecewise function. It's going to be x minus 4 if x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0, right? So what does that mean? That means that x is greater than or equal to 4. So it's x minus 4 if x is greater than or equal to 4, right? Pretty cool. And it's minus x minus 4 if x minus 4 is less than 0, so x is less than 4. So you can write it as x minus 4 if x is greater than or equal to 4. And I'm not going to distribute that minus just for instructional purposes. A lot of times when you're working on problems where you use this, you actually don't even want to do that. So I won't do it, which is kind of an interesting thing to mention. And you might say, that doesn't make sense. Well, if you've never seen those problems, then you wouldn't get it. There's something in this book. I just noticed something. Look at this. Yeah, this has been in here. This is a relic from the past. Assignment 1. California State University, Chico, Department of Mathematics, Fall 1988. Dr. Walter Neath, Precalculus. Wow. Old school, right? Old school stuff. But yeah, pretty cool book. It's got answers in the back. Okay, it's got answers in the back to the odd numbered problems, so you could use it for self-study. One of the nice things about these books, this is just my opinion, is that they're inexpensive typically because they're old and they're like no one cares about them. I do though, so that's why I bought it. And you get different examples and you get different exercises. It just gives you a different perspective. They're kind of fun. They're kind of fun to look through. So, what's this? A function f is a polynomial function f of x equals, all right, cool, where the coefficients are a sub 0 through a sub 1 through a sub n are real numbers, and the exponents are non-negative integers. Yeah, if a sub n is not 0 in the preceding definition, we say that f has degree n. Note that a polynomial of function degree 1 is a linear function. If the degree is 2, then, as the next definition, f is called a quadratic function. Yeah. They didn't actually define the degree when a sub n is not equal to 0. They didn't say anything about that. So you can say things about that, depending on the book. Yeah, interesting stuff. Here's some exercises. Determine whether the function is 1-to-1. So this one here is going to be 1-to-1, 2x plus 9. It's basically 1-to-1 if it passes the horizontal line test. That's a really simple way to do it. So let me just show you really quickly. Why not? We got time. So if you have f of x equals 2x plus 9, right? And then this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. This is x, and this is y. Plug in 0, you get 9. So we're here, and it's gonna do something like this. The slope is 2. This is gonna be somewhere like over here. Boom. Yeah, I didn't find that. You can find that x-intercept if you want by setting this equal to 0. And then so you get 2x equals negative 9, so x equals negative 9 halves, which is negative 4.5. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be negative 4.5. That's actually pretty good. Right? That's a rough, not really drawn to scale graph. And this is a 1-to-1 function because if I draw a horizontal line, no matter how many I draw, every line will always cross once and exactly only once. So it is a 1-to-1 function, also known as an injective function or an injection. And that means you can find an inverse function. Yeah, for example, 7 here, the absolute value function is not 1-to-1, right? That's not 1-to-1 because if you were to look at that one, this is x, this is y. Here's the absolute value function. I draw a horizontal line, it crosses more than once, so it's not 1-to-1. So yeah, that's the idea. Anyways, this is a cool book. It's got a lot of mathematics, and yeah, I think you can learn from this, right? Trigonometric equations. Solve the equation. Yeah, these are a little bit harder. These take more work. Okay, they take more work. But yeah, nice book that you can use to self-study. By the way, if you want to learn math, I have courses, mathsorcerer.com or freemathbits.com. They're on Udemy, but please use the links from my website because I lowered the prices and it helps me. Also, subscribe if you want to. A key takeaway from this video is this book is pretty good. I will look for it. If there's any copies, I'll leave links in the description. Usually these are really inexpensive. I bought this used. I like it. I'm happy with it. I think it's a pretty cool book. Take care.